Meeting call to order. We just want to thank you all for coming out. Sorry we were still late. We had a prior meeting. Now, Ms. Davis here. We can have our roll call. Might have to come up here so they can hear.
Dr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Webb?
Here.
Dr. Hunt? Here. Mr. Ware?
Kim is where?
Mr. James?
Here. Ms. Ware? Okay. All right, adoption of the agenda. Is anything on the agenda need to be changed at this time?
Yes, sir, Mr. James, the members of the board, we want to move 8.8 to, 8.2, does all have to do with personnel?
So 8.8 and 8.2 will be changed?
Yes, sir, we want to move 8.8 up to 8.2.
8.8 goes to 8.2.
Right. And under your personnel recommendation there, where it says, I think you can on that already.
Okay. Can I have adoption of the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in motion and second. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mr. Webb?
Aye.
Dr. Hunt?
Aye.
Mr. Ware? Mr. James?
Aye. Passes 4-0. Okay, now we have, any public comments at this time?
No.
And no public comments. So now we'll have recognitions and presentation 5.1. Dr. Henry? Yes.
Good afternoon, President James, members of the board. The artwork that you see presented before you today is from the students of West Elementary and our art teacher, Ms. Sarah Stroger. The theme this month was Sunflowers in the Spring.
Okay. All right. 5.2, Ms. Mims.
Good evening, President James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald Green, and to our guests. I have the honor of recognizing one of our teachers, Mr. Cartrell Smith. He was voted as the most amazing teacher of the month. It's a community-based recognition where community members can vote for a specific teacher. And this month, they decided to recognize Mr. Smith. Just a real quick thing, Mr. Smith came to me about 2 years ago wanting to get into the school system. And so that summer he called me, I didn't have a position. And he called me at the end of that summer, I still didn't have a position. The next year he called me and I said, I think I got something for you. And he came in as a teacher assistant. Well, within a year he obtained a certification and became a teacher. And so this is his second time being recognized. So even though he's out right now, the kids love him, he's made an impact, and I'm just grateful that I was able to be a part of seeing him see his dream come true. So I know there's some Fraser teachers on the Zoom, so join me. He could not be here today, but join me in congratulating Mr. Smith.
All right. 5.3, Mr. Jackson and Ms. Jackson.
Mr. James, members of the board, the mission of Youth Leadership Natchez is to develop a group of young leaders who can make an impact on the future of Natchez and Adams County. by learning how to assume responsible community leaderships throughout the Natchez area. Participation in Youth Leadership Natchez is open to 11th grade students in public and parochial schools here in Adams County. Youth Leadership Natchez is composed of 6 monthly full-day sessions, October through April, including an open retreat where students are introduced to each other and the program coordinators. Each session is designed to assist in the development of leadership skills, the ability to identify community needs and opportunity for leadership, as well as building networks. Today, we would like to recognize both Natchez High School and Natchez Early College graduates of Youth Leadership Natchez. Mr. Henry Davis III. Cedriana Douglas. Maya Jones. Christian Reynolds. Amari White. And Michelle Williams.
Natchez Early College Youth Leadership Natchez graduates are Destiny Aday, Evan Barnes, Lawrence Jones, and Jordan Reed.
Okay. 5.4.
Mr. James, members of the board, American Legion Boys and Girls State is an educational program of government instruction for U.S. High school students across the nation. This year we've had, at Natchez High School, we have 4 individuals who have made and invited to Boys State and Girls State this year. At this time, we would like to recognize Adrian Marshall, Antoine Liddell, Christian Reynolds, for being accepted into Boys State, and Ms. Michaela Isaac for being accepted into Girls State.
Okay.
At this time, Mr. James, we would like to recognize in 5.5 Natchez High School tennis team for reaching state competition this year. Those students are Kari McNeil, Danto Miller, Donato Miller, and Samaria Spears. And Alexis Woods.
That it? Okay, 5.6 is Ms. Jack. Again.
Mr. James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Mrs. McDonald Green. Daughters of American Revolution is a lineage-based membership service organization for women who are directly descended from a person involved in the United States efforts towards independence. Each year, they award a senior the DAR Good Citizen Award, and this award recognizes and rewards individuals with the qualities of a good citizen, which are dependability, service, leadership, and patriotism. This year, the recipient is a Natchez Early College senior, Naya Jones. Mr. James, members of the board, at this time, I would like to recognize Samaria Spears, Copiah Lincoln Community College Hall of Fame inductee. This is the highest honor bestowed upon a student by the college. Samaria is a senior at Natchez Early College. She was also selected by Copiah Lincoln Community College faculty, staff, and students as Who's Who, and she was also voted Miss Colin Natchez Campus.
Okay, 5.7.
Mr. James, members of the board, the Mosaic Summer Enrichment Program is a program designed to help change the future by building what we call the mosaic of Mississippi's healthcare system by promoting and propelling access to medical careers in underserved communities throughout the state of Mississippi. Mosaic is a residential program that exposes students to various careers in healthcare by immersing them in engaging in educational back-to-back experiences over the course of 1 week. This year, Cedriana Douglas, an 11th grade student at Natchez High School, has been selected to participate in Mosaic's summer program.
Okay. What was 5.8? It was supposed to be 5.8. Who that? Well, Ms. Jackson, you wasn't supposed to do that till I called for you. This not your meeting now. This is our meeting. I just, okay, 5.9, that, Mr. Phil, that's up, here. Boardroom. Okay. I guess we have
I don't motion that we recess for 2 minutes.
recess.
To move to the board.
Move to the boardroom. It's been a motion that we recess for 10 minutes, second by Dr. Robinson. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Webb?
Aye.
Dr. Blunt? Aye. Mrs. Ware? Mr. James?
Aye. It passed, what, 4-5-0? 5-0, okay. All right.
I'll offer a motion,
Second.
Well, it's been a motion
to come back and come out of recess.
second by Ms. Webb. Roll call. Ms.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Blunt? Aye. Mrs. Ware? Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, it passes 5-0. Okay, 5.9, Mr. Field.
Mr. James, members of the board, in the fall, you all authorized me to work with CGI Digital to do a promotional video for the Natchez-Adams School District. This video will be uploaded to the city's website, the county's website, our website, and anytime it'll be forced up, if you will, in Google. So when if someone wants to know more about us and our district, and they put in Natchez-Adams School District, this video will be one of the first things that will pop up. We're also going to use this to promote ourselves on social media, and also when we start back on our recruiting. visit. So it's a really nice video. So Mr. Birdsong has it queued up, and I want you all to take a look.
Great students, great schools, and great community can be found at Natchez-Adams School District. Our district consists of 3 elementary, 2 middle, an early college academy, 1 traditional high school, and a new one in the works. In the spirit of growth and expansion, we provide a challenging yet accessible curriculum that includes innovative programs, career tech classes, and early college programs. Aside from the standard curriculum, extracurricular music, art, and athletic programs are also offered to students. At Natchez-Adams School District, we look out for students while they're attending classes and as they take their next steps in life. We aren't just a school district. Here, we're a family. Our STEM programs highlight hands-on learning, training, and a variety of fields. Everyone is welcome at Natchez-Adams School District. Each student has the opportunity for growth and advancement, nurturing, engaging, educating, inspiring, and preparing students to navigate this world. Natchez-Adams School District, where our children come first.
Who did that for you? I know the law. That was very good.
Thank you.
What was it, about 2 minutes? 3 minutes?
A minute and 13 seconds.
Okay.
I like the way that you had, covered it with people had masks, and then, but we could see faces. That was well choreographed.
Thank you.
Difficult to do.
Was that you I saw in one of the, in the background with them students?
No,
It was?
no, sir.
Oh, that was just your wish, but it didn't.
Right, I tried to sneak in a shot if we can.
You know what I'm trying to do.
All right, thank you, Mr. Field.
Thank you.
Okay, item 6, approval of minutes, approval of April 19, 2022 regular meeting minutes, and approval of April 27, 2022 special call meeting minutes, and approval of May 11, 2022 special call meeting minutes. Can we have approval?
I approve that we approve 611, 612, and 613.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, it passes 5-0. Item number 7, is there anything in consent item that a board member would like to move or would like to be moved to approve, approve of in the action item, Is there anything you'd like to move? If not, can be approved.
If there's no amendment, Mr. Chair, I move that we accept all of the consent items as presented.
Okay?
I'll second.
It's been moved and second to accept all consent items. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, it passes 5-0. Okay, item 8.1, approval of personnel report.
Good afternoon, Mr. James and members of the board. The Office of Human Resources presents the Personnel Board Report 8.1 and the Personnel Vacancy List 8.1A. It is a recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Trustees approve the attached personnel changes and documents submitted.
Any questions?
I'll offer motion we will approve the first item 8.1.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, it passes 5-0.
Mr. James, and members of the board, Ms. Bryce, we had asked him to go ahead and move 8.8 up because he said you need to get out the meeting early tonight, so, if we could go on and get a motion on that, if you have anything for the question, please.
On your proposed rate, 8.2 and 8.
No, 8.8 is on
Huh?
the salary schedule is what he's referring to.
Rate of pay of employees for the summer extended, and you asking for both, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I know I'm not gonna ask a question. Okay. I'll offer a motion to approve the recommendation of the superintendent.
Relegated. Right. You're second, and let's get a roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West? Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye. It passes 5-0. Now, that salary schedule, what is that?
That's,
That's what we get in the new money.
Okay, it's just for certified? Okay,
because there's nothing major, there are no major changes in
Just when it
that
comes to
salary.
say.
right.
That's what I mean.
And let me ask you a question, Mr. West, already asked. Where are we at
Thank you.
as far as, the question you over at last year versus this year?
About raising employee salary? No, about the,
Vacancy.
How many vacancy, that's what it is, you know?
oh,
As of,
You always ask that.
as of yesterday, we had 2 resignations, 2 people are moving outside of the area, to relocate, and as of yesterday, I think we had 16 vacancies for certified staff, and about 5 or 6 for non-certified staff, but, as the Lord would have, you know, we're losing one of our teachers out of there in college, but as the Lord would have it, we have another lady we had hired just due to the fact that she was certified in chemistry, in biology and chemistry. So now we just move up from one of the other schools and move her to cover that particular spot. So we're a lot better shape this year than we were this time last year.
that's kind of what we are, well, that's what I always ask.
Yeah,
Everything's relative.
right.
We move up, stay the same, or move it down.
Oh, no, we in a lot better shape this year.
Okay. 8.3, Mr. Jack.
Mr. James, members of the board, before you is a presentation for approval for our ACT boot camp over the summer. We have analyzed our ACT data, and based on our data, it does support the need to have ACT boot camps, and we're gonna start targeting our subgroups this summer because our student athletes are with us doing training. They will also go through training and ACT boot camp this summer. And then the last day of the training, which will be the Saturday, they'll take the ACT national assessment. And so they'll have 5 days of ACT boot camp, followed by taking the ACT on a Saturday. So the recommendation from the superintendent is that the board approves the 5 days of ACT boot camp with licensed ACT test trained consultants.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West? Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye. It passes 5-0. Let me ask you a question about ACT. Okay, how many times can we at the school give a voucher for ACT? Do y'all know?
2 or 3.
They can get up to 3 a year. But then we only get a certain number of vouchers, so they can get up to 3, but it's when the vouchers run out per school.
Let me ask you a question. So let's just say there's a child that need to take it 3-4 times, but they want to take it past the vouchers, they don't have the money. Is there any way that we could pay that money with the ESSER fund? Because I know you can take it up about 10 times.
And so one of the things in title funds, we do have funds for college and career readiness, just as we pay for dual enrollment and things of that nature. And so if there are children in need, there are allotments for college and career readiness funds added to title funds.
Usually, Mr. James, I will say this to you, with ACT, usually those scores don't change significantly
Right.
with taking it.
Right.
There's a great jump between the first time and the second time, maybe
Right.
even the third if you get extra, but
my
too
son,
much is
Yeah.
not as proven, but 3 is great.
because that's what he was saying, what happened with my son, when he made one score, it went up maybe a point or 2,
Right.
but it stayed right there.
Unless the student needs a scholarship or that, usually that, when they're taking it again and again, it's usually a point or 2 away from a scholarship.
Oh, and then you got a dedicated student who really, take one of those programs and really work
Oh, sure.
real hard.
Oh, yeah.
In order
In
to
between.
attain, yeah, like a jump start program, they're gonna really work hard and have some self-discipline. You might be able to squeeze 2 4 points maybe.
Because
But there's not a lot, of difference. But I like, Mr. Jackson, I really appreciate the fact that you're combining boot camp athletics with academics. Thank you.
And
I
also,
like that combination so that they know that they are scholars
One and the
at the
same.
same time as they're athletes. So,
and I,
good job.
and I think we did have if you jump too far in point, they kick it back and look at it and see, how could you go from an 18 to a.
Somebody else sit in for you.
Right, and found out there was something going in, right, when you jump too far, they kick it back.
Right, yeah, we don't have to investigate.
We don't have to worry
We
about
had that
that.
happen a couple times,
James, Dr. Bunch said you and I don't have to worry about that kind
No.
of thing.
He's putting words in my
I'm
mouth.
still at a 14. Okay, well, 8.4.
Okay, 8.4, that's nothing more than renewing the contract, for Ms. Campbell, that's the name of her company, she's been very successful this year in writing grants. And as a matter of fact, we brought something to you about 2 months ago whereby we actually pay her to manage the grant, make sure that we are spending the money we're supposed to be spending, make sure we're getting all the necessary paperwork in, because all the grants, a lot of paperwork coming, but this is just for her basic,
So we are paying her a salary.
Right.
And then we pay some additional funds to help administer, oversee the grant.
Yes, sir.
But
And basically, it's the
she
same thing
pays
as what
for
we're doing.
herself.
Yeah, she pays.
She
for it.
pays for herself
Right.
with the grant.
Yeah, and it's the
So,
same as it was
so
like.
her salary is coming from the grants?
No, we pay her salary, but from the grant is coming, the money in order to manage the grant comes from the grants. So we started with this project about 2 years ago because we did not have an active grant writer.
Mm-hmm.
And the first year was kind of on the lean side, but this past year has been very productive, but we have to pay the salary. Now, to manage the grant, it comes out of the grant funds that she's awarded, that we are awarded.
I think the last one we approved was like $7,500, if I recall correctly, Ms. Ware, in terms of her managing the grant fund.
Okay.
And probably,
Well, I was looking at the administrative consideration and said this total covers the cost for her services.
Yeah.
what we need to do is give Ms. Well a breakdown
Okay.
of what the salary is and how many grants she done did.
The salaries are in there, the grants are in there.
Oh, all the grants?
Yeah, I'm reading it.
She's looking
I'm reading
All right.
All right,
We need to make a
it.
motion.
I just didn't get I just wanted clarity from the administrative consideration.
okay. 8.4.
All right.
But you said that you're paying her in addition for the managing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That come out of the
That
grant.
comes out of the grant.
She writes herself in, Luana.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
8.4.
Well, did we act on that?
No, I move that we approve the grant writing service proposal.
Okay,
I'll second.
moving in second. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Mr. West? Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware? Mr. James?
Aye, it passed 5. We did 8.2 and 8.8 together. Okay, 8.6. Mr. Dave. Oh, 8.5. I thought we did
8.5 is,
Oh, 8.5. Let's do that.
Good afternoon, Mr. James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald Green. On behalf of the superintendent, the Office of Human Resources is presenting.
I'm sorry, can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
On behalf of the superintendent, the Office of Human Resources is presenting the corrective action plan for the district's 2021-2022 school year MCS personnel accreditation report.
It's only probably needs some batteries, so we can
MCS, also known as the Mississippi Student Information System, is the Mississippi Department of Education's record-keeping and reporting system that school attendance clerks enter attendance and course scheduling data on all students in the school district. It is also the database where demographic information is entered on all personnel employed in the district. For the 2021-2022 school year, Superintendent Butcher received the district's personnel accreditation report from MDE reflecting several non-compliant deficiencies on the teachers that are not highly qualified or working out of their area. If these deficiencies are not clear, the district will be cited for non-compliance and will be placed on probationary status for the 2022-2023 school year. And the status will remain until the State Board of Education deems it necessary that the district has showed where we will clear these errors in the upcoming years. In order to keep the district on the accreditation status that we are now in good standing, MDE is allowing districts an opportunity to clear these areas by submitting the corrective action plan to the Office of Teaching and Leading by June 3rd, 2022. If this plan is not board approved and submitted by June 3rd, the State Board of Education will change the accreditation status on the district and we will have a red flag and be non-compliant. If the request from it is a request of the superintendent that the Natchez-Adams School Board of Trustees approve the corrective action plan for the 2021-2022 school year. Any questions in regards to this?
How comfortable are we with what's being proposed to take this corrective action?
We feel a lot better than we felt in the past, just due to the fact, when you look at the school and look at the staff situation, you have to remember, during COVID, the State Department laxed its rules and regulations for certification. So we have a lot of people who end up with a certification and they'll be into the classroom, but they are out of area. So out of area is one thing we're dealing with, and that's why, we're in the process of trying to make sure we deal with certification first and everything else will be secondary, So I think as of this point right now, we are a lot better harsher than we were this time last year, because this time last year, it's very difficult to find teachers. So I feel like we're just in a better situation right now.
Have we been in this situation, let's say, before the pandemic? Have we had this kind of sighting before the pandemic?
Yes, sir. We had it back in 2015-16 school year. And what the State Department does is they send us a rubric, a guide to use to put everything in the capital action plan. And Ms. McDonald, she did it the last time. And what we did this time is we went in and we updated it with the information up to date for 2021-22. So we have to have everything in our plan that the rubric tells us to. If not, then they won't even look at it and we automatically get fined. So everything that's in the plan is what they told us to put into it.
Prior to the pandemic, we had really worked the numbers down pretty good prior to the pandemic.
But now, are we, and I'll ask Ms. Tennessee this too, a lot of this is the teacher shortage, the critical
Yes.
teacher shortage
Yes.
that is here, and we talked
Everywhere.
about it, and looming.
And statewide.
And
Yes,
statewide, but also in this
Nationwide.
nationwide, but also in the a rural area, which is teachers are not moving in that direction. I see it from the other side, as you know, Ms. Tennessee.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I see how many of my students are not going into teaching.
Well, all deficiencies that we're being red flagged on, they're because we have teachers in our classroom that are certified, but they're out of area
Right.
teaching.
That's
And then on the other side, we have teachers who don't have a license at all, and there are permanent sub-teachers in the class
right.
that are in programs working towards getting their license.
And that's why we go back, that's why it's very important that we have the academic coaches. Because those academic coaches have to work with those teachers in order to make them become teachers. Because even if a brand new teacher coming out of school that's certified, you're talking about a 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 year period before they become a highly certified functional teacher.
So I guess, and I understand everything that's being said, but at the same time, I'm trying to see, okay, we're gonna put a proposal or a strategic plan in terms of how we overcoming that with the teacher shortage and the other variables that are involved in terms of, not having access to a particular person who's in it. And so we have to continue to have them work outside of their area. How does that impact what they're looking for us to do? Because we could plan to do it and not be in a position to do it. I guess that's what I'm saying.
I guess, Mr. West, we have to really work hard to do that. Because let me give you an example. At one of our elementary schools, that principal worked very, very hard in helping those teachers to become certified.
Okay.
In some instances, she probably had more people become certified in their respective areas, probably than any other single principal in the district. But the problem we have in some instances, we work with them for 3 years, get them certified, and what happens?
They leave.
They go somewhere else. And that puts a bad taste in our mouth,
Okay.
So how are we looking towards this deadline?
We have the plan ready. As soon as it's approved by the board, I will give the copy to Ms. Davis to get the superintendent's and, the board president's signature. And I can have it in the mail this week, and our deadline is June the 3rd to have it in the Office of Teaching, in Jackson.
Did you say the 3rd or the 30th?
Yeah. We always like to send things like this in a little early, just in case there's a glitch somewhere. It gives us some turnaround time to come back and get it straight.
You were about to say something.
No, I was just gonna let you know, Mr. West, one of the things about plan that they've been looking for, they wanna see how we are gonna be recruiting our teachers for the upcoming school year. Once we recruit them, they wanna see how we're gonna retain them. Retaining them by giving them professional development, helping them with mentors, making sure that they have all the access, resources, and tools that they need, so that they can, in the programs that they're in, they need these mentors to help them in those programs so they can pass and take these tests, take the practices, so they can be able to have all the courses and everything they need to apply for the license that they need in that specific subject area that they're teaching.
And we need to try and address some other additional incentives for people to remain once we put this effort into.
If you remember about 3 years ago, you was the lead person in getting us connected with a group out of Macomb.
Right.
And they had 2 professors working with the non-certified teachers from Stanford. And the thing I liked about that situation, most of the time you get these folks to come in and give you a one-time shot and that's it. But what they actually was responsible for doing, once the teacher would take the test, they would come back online and work with the teacher with the weak areas, and that was really a help, because it wasn't, you take the test and we forget about it, but we take the test and then we continue to work with you to pass the test.
And Ms. McDonald-Green, are we working with the city to incentivize trying to get people into Natchez, teachers? And I knew that you were working with the mayor on some of those costs for people moving to Natchez.
Since COVID, we have not had those conversations with Mayor Gibson.
Let's start that up though, because that could be something that, whether or not that goes to this report, but that could certainly incentivize bringing these young people to Natchez.
Okay.
We're looking at the retention and strategic plan. Under the recruitment and retention, I think if we put a little bit more meat in that statement, because you do have the video, the digital, so you have digital marketing, you have social media, blah, blah, blah. Because it just says NASD is working to attract most highly qualified candidates. So how are we doing that as far as recruitment and retention? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I move for approval of human capital improvement and retention strategic plan with the revision that Ms. Ware suggests regarding the method we are gonna do the recruitment and retention.
I'll second.
Okay. The motion was made by Dr. Robert, seconded by Mr. Webb. I ain't gonna repeat the motion.
It was.
Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, passes 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Tennessee,
Thank
members of
Thank you.
Davis unit.
President James, to the board, Superintendent Mr. Butcher, Deputy Superintendent Ms. McDonald-Green. The School Safety Act of 2019 requires school boards of each district, with assistance from MDE's Office of Safe and Orderly Schools, to adopt a comprehensive local school district school safety plan and to annually provide a plan update. The web-based inside platform enables schools and districts to develop and implement strong health and safety plans that protect students, teachers, and staff. The system will help districts create and manage emergency operation plans that meet state and federal requirements. The MOU with the external first responders, Natchez Police Department, Adams County Sheriff's Department, Natchez Fire Department, Emergency Management will grant those agencies access to certain safety features through inside in the case of a natural disaster or crisis situation. It is the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Trustees approve to enter into a memorandum of understanding with local first responder agencies.
And so, Mr. James and members of the board, the district opted in to participate in the Inside Safety Platform through the Mississippi Department of Education. And what this safety platform does is this organization will come in, they will make a digital, visual safety plan and layout of our schools. So you'll actually have access to a visual layout of our campuses. And so what the MOU does is it allows emergency management and first responders, if there's a crisis situation on our campus, this MOU would give them access to those digital layouts. And so it's going to be very beneficial for us. They're going to help us create safety plans or to enhance the safety plans that we have. Inside is also going to place a camera on each of our campus, free of cost to the district and at the central office. So this MOU just gives emergency personnel access to these features on an as per needed basis.
Can I ask Mr. Davis a question about the new school? Just overall, do you feel more comfortable if we have this one campus as far as safety and security than if you've got lots of schools out there? Just kind of give me a feeling that you've got about how we would approach an active shooter, say.
It's easier to lock down when you have campuses that close. It's easy to lock down everyone, and if you got first responders, they respond to a more centralized location rather than, and just I'll use cases of our bomb threats. When you got bomb threat in one school, most times we try to lock down all schools. But with the shortage of law enforcement and resources and things like that, is that actually really, able to be done? Not really. But if we just say have an active shooter here at the high school, we can lock down the middle school with it being so close, smack lawn. We have, enough units to respond to those areas. So it does give you a more sense of security and being able to be more secure, especially, going into things like this with cameras and having one centralized place to look at everything.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
How many, before we continue, how many, I guess, what do I wanna say, do we have tabletops or anything that we utilize, once or twice a year for the students?
So, based off of, MDE requires us to do we have to do one each semester, right now. We have to do a,
Crisis training.
right, basically, every year. We have to do 2 a year, a school year. But, we have been talks with emergency management about having what I think you're looking for is, a response in actual situation. Utilizing the students and staff and things like that. We talked about it maybe doing on a early dismissal. And that way we'll have the buses responding and, everybody coming in and things like that. But we do have things that we do. And each drills we have to go through every month.
Yeah. And as well, we've had 1 or 2 real live situations at Natchez High School this year. And as a result, we learned a lot. After each of those instances, we met with the sheriff, we met with emergency management, we met with the Natchez Police Department. So we learned a whole lot after both of those experiences.
What about the text alerts and other things like that when you have those real life situations?
So Inside will kind of give us that capability to send out one alert. Right now, the way we're doing with active shooter, and that's what I couldn't think of, active shooter. In our plan, I contact dispatch. Once I'm contacted, Dispatch is responsible for sending out those calls to other emergency personnel. But what I have been doing is I provide courtesy calls to the head of each department. So I'll contact Sheriff Patton, Chief Daughtry, and Brad, and that's courtesy. And we go through like that. Each of these agencies have a copy of our emergency plans. We do have emergency plans per school as well as a district plan, and they all have copies of it once it's approved by the board.
And internally, Mrs. Ware, as a part of the district's crisis response plan, there is a response tree that gives the responsibilities of various people. And so as soon as Officer Davis notifies Mr. Butcher and myself, we immediately implement that plan. And so Mr. Fields is a part of that process. As soon as we get the information that we need, he immediately dispatches that information, communication to the media, to parents of those schools that are affected, and with administrators so that they are aware of things that are occurring in the district as well.
Okay, say for instance, if we, on our campus, if we have a crisis or we have what you call building mayors, someone responsible for each floor or each wing of a building to lock down those, make sure that those specific areas are locked down. Is there anything in place like that with the district?
And so there is a code system that we have. And so if there is an active shooter, there's a code system. So the principals have that information. We also provide that training to staff members. And so if a particular code goes out via the intercom system, then everyone knows how to respond.
Gotcha, thank you.
And also, you know, we like I said, we learned a lot the hard way, but I think you learn more when you have real life situations. And we also know that once we contact Mr. Davis, basically Mr. McDonald and I, we kind of step back because of the fact that there would be one of either the sheriff department, somebody would take over. They will set up a command post, and from the command post, then that's why they would, give all of the orders to cover the building or whatever the case is. I think that each of the board members, you would gladly know that you're talking about locking down a floor in the new building. We're gonna have control assets. If something happens, the principal can push one building and every wing is automatically locked down.
Well, there already been a motion and second. All we need is a roll call now.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West? Dr. Bunch? Aye. Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, passes 5-0. Mr. Davis, look, go down to the auditorium and see if anybody in there sitting around, maybe think to the listening session. This 1 minute to you, 1 minute.
You right. Somebody in here?
It might be somebody in here. I'm just seeing if anybody there.
Right down there, right. No, because we just made it. I don't think so. Of course, we don't need to recess to have that commissioning period, right?
No, sir, was the plan to get through the agenda and adjourn the meeting and go to that, or what?
No, we just said we were gonna have it, and we were gonna have it at 5:30, so because we haven't finished the agenda, can we still insert it now at 5:30 and just continue on? That's what I'm asking.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Nobody there?
We're waiting on,
Okay.
Nobody there.
nobody down there. Okay, now we have our listening session. Anybody in here would like to?
We do have one public comment for that.
I got that, but
Okay.
this is on.
No, that's what I say. That's what I say.
Okay, you for the listening session? Come on. Oh, come on. Mr. Greg Wood, come on.
Good afternoon, Chairman, throwback chairs, Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, all board members. For several years, it has been my desire that we have a North Natchez Rams outdoor museum. Outdoor museum, displaying all the accomplishments, pictures, what have you. So in designing that for a long time, I've been looking for a location that it could possibly be. On last night, a location came to me, and it's not the school building. Also, a greater vision came to me. Not only to remember the graduates from North Natchez, I have a museum for that, but for all the former high schools that have been on the north side of town. Bloomfield, Thompson, St. Francis, there may be more. So, being that this meeting was today, I didn't come here to ask you for that, but I come here to let you know that I'm coming back to ask you.
Okay.
Whenever you get to the decision where you're gonna close the last high school that used to be on the north side of town, we'll be back to ask for, I don't know if it'll be leased or if you're gonna sell it. But when you pull into Robert Lewis from Martin Luther King, that open lot, when I was going to school, it was a band practice lot. I think recently the football middle school team, they practice over there, just open field. So that's what I come here to this meeting to let you know that that's something that the community will be interested in. I don't know where you are.
The lot, when you pull in, you come over to the right over there.
On the right side.
On that hill.
Yeah, right there.
Before you get to the tennis court and all that.
Yeah, that open.
Okay. All right, then we'll.
I know where y'all are as far as planning on what you're gonna do when you close it.
Well, I can say. Okay, thank you. All right. Anybody else for the listening session? Not, we'll go to Mr. Moore, yeah, Mr. 8.7.
Good evening.
All right.
James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald Green. 8.7 is requesting funds to assist our students with the cost to travel to the TSA convention in Dallas, Texas. Currently, the way the CTE budget operates, it will pay for the expenses for the first place winner, but those second place winners, the district has to, help with the costs. So we're in a shortfall of $2,021.46. All that we don't use, we will return to the district. So there's a recommendation of the superintendent that this agenda item be approved.
Okay.
I move that we approve 8.7.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Mr. West? Dr. Bunch? Mrs. Ware? Mrs. Ware? Mr. James?
Aye, it passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you all.
All right, 8.9 is, we did 8.8.
Right. Yes, sir. Members of the board, the superintendent's current contract will expire June 30 of 2022. That was a 2-year contract that began July 1 of 2020. And so, given the closeness of the time, the board needs to take some action to give me some direction about what his employment status and the preparation of a contract for him that begins July 1 of this year and would end whatever time you tell me it will end.
So we're not voting on a contract today, we'll just, you want some direction as to
If we are prepared to vote on it, the board to vote on it, I have prepared a contract that is for 1 year. Covers the period of time from July 1, 2022 to June 30, 2023, at the same salary that he has been paid for the last 4 years, which is $10,500 a month. All of the other terms are consistent or exactly the same as the previous contracts.
Okay, so you do have that.
I do have such thing. If the board.
I'll offer a motion that we would extend that contract and accept, you just presented to us for the next, school year. School contract year.
Yes.
2023, I think is what you said.
Yeah, ends. Yeah.
And, right.
Go ahead and move and accept. Roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch? Aye. Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, pass 5-0. Okay,
We'll take this time to thank each of you for that extension of the contract. You know, originally we came here to stay 6 months.
Right.
And so now.
it's 6 years.
It'll be 7 years and 6 months.
Okay, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, 8.10, Mr. West.
Huh?
18.
Please.
Greg again.
No, it's you, but it's him. But that's like, we already got your information, so you don't have to do anything. It's just you, okay.
Everything's lined up, so we.
Okay, so we need to just approve that.
Yeah.
They're gonna use
Oh, I
what
see.
now?
Facility request.
Right.
Yeah. I move that we accept Mr. Wett's, use the facility request from the North Natchez alumni.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West? Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, it passes 5-0. I don't see where you're using it at. Everything is somewhere else.
They're gonna use the gym.
Oh, okay, the meet and greet somewhere, in the reunion somewhere, the church somewhere. I'm just saying, okay. Like where you using it at? Okay. No, that's all right, we're gonna talk about that. Okay, what we got here, 8.11.
Mr. James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald Green, this is a request for funding for approval for AFJRTC cadets to travel to Houston, Texas to attend NASA's summer program. The administration of Natchez-Adams requesting approval of reimbursement funds. Once the cadets attend the conference and return, all funds will be reimbursed by the National AFJRTC program at the cost of $5,000.
The federal, the ROTC program, federal,
Yes.
national.
Will reimburse the
reimbursement.
district.
How many students?
20.
Oh, excellent.
Last month, we approved the field trip request. This is a request for funds.
All right.
So
The second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch?
Aye.
Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, it passes 5-0. 8.12.
8.12, Mr. James, members of the board, is the request to approve a dress code guidelines from Natchez Early College. Those students are afforded the opportunity to have an early college experience, being on the campus of Copiah Lincoln Community College campus. However, they are still our students, and we're still responsible for the safety of those students. And so what this dress code guideline would do was place those students in a specific colored shirt, a uniform shirt, so that they are easily identified by our safety personnel that are on the campus and the police safety personnel. We understand that our students are on the campus with the adults, and we have to make certain that we're able to identify them quickly. And so it is the request of the superintendent that you approve a specific dress code for Natchez Early College students. They will be afforded the opportunity to wear other garments just as other students in Natchez-Adams School District, but they would have a specific shirt color that would have a identifying logo. Mr. feels is working with the local vendor to make certain that we can provide them access to shirts if, they so choose to use those vendors, but it's just the shirts.
Have you gotten some feedback from the students?
We have not gotten feedback from the students, but this is based on a recommendation from Copiah Lincoln Community College staff.
Okay, so we have not had this in the past.
In the past, we've had the uniform
I mean,
policy.
beyond, I'm talking about for the shirt, this is slightly new. We've gone away from it.
Yes.
From the,
I think that the only hesitation is that it does sort of, hurt, their ability to kind of blend in on that college campus, but that's the point, isn't it, for security, that not to have to blend in.
Right, specifically for, if I'm the security officer or the administrators, and I can look out and I know that I'm looking for blue shirts, and they're in an area that they're not supposed to be, or it's such, it just makes it easier for us to manage.
There's an age difference between some of our students.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We need to know that. I move that we approve the Natchez Early College dress requirement.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch? Aye. Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, it passed 5-0. 8.3.
8.13.
8.13, I thought we'd been doing that. Who is that? You Ms. Matt? Go ahead.
Item 8.13 is request for approval of a salary incentive and signing bonus. And so as part of our human capital recruitment and retention program, we need to make certain that we have initiatives in place to recruit highly qualified employees into our district. And so the policy that you have before you would allow us to provide, based upon funding availability, a $5,000 stipend for critical needs area. And please make that insertion. We'll make that insertion. This is for critical needs areas: English, math, and science. And so teachers would be afforded that signing incentive. Year one, it would be allotted over the 2 semesters. After year one, they would still have access to those signing incentives based upon them remaining in the district, but also student performance.
I thought we was already doing that.
No, we talked about it.
Talked about it, we did it last, we just need to make sure we got a policy on it.
Okay. Let me ask, do you know if there are any other districts doing something similar?
That should be.
I'm not quite certain of in our local area.
In our area.
I think what you call it doing is down the road there. That's how they got a couple of teachers. But they did with ELSA funds, though. We was
So
talking
they would be evaluated
I'm
and
talking
made?
about, we talk about out of the
Yeah,
regular operating.
Right.
Doing this.
That's right.
They did it out there. But we gonna do it for you.
Yeah, and don't get it confused, we have a $2.some million grant that's coming through, the English, the curriculum, whereby we're looking at doing something very similar, for people coming in, but that we haven't been approved yet, right?
Not yet.
But that is one thing we're looking at.
Is that being, you say, critical need here, that's the testing area?
Your main area whereby it's very difficult to find teachers, ELA, English,
math, and
So
science.
that's for elementary and
Right.
Millis?
Well, you got to remember now with elementary and middle school, really with elementary, you'll have elementary teachers basically teach everything for the most part, okay, unless they come to you with a lot of experience. But with your high school and junior high people, you need to have people who are subject specific because of the fact that with your, junior high math is kind of a challenge.
I was just wondering.
Right. But in the past, in elementary folks just go across the board, period. But we're trying to really look at focusing on junior high and high school, right? Because
So this is not
if you
for
can get
elementary.
to find you a good junior high, if you can find people who are certified in ELA, math, and science in junior high, it will do nothing more than straighten your high school program.
And we've had our most difficult challenge in which area?
Math.
No, in terms of grade level.
Middle school.
Both.
Grades 6 through 12 math.
Okay, not.
Because when you get in the, as
First
he
through
said,
fifth or
we have
sixth.
K through 5, when you have an elementary education degree, a license, you're allowed to teach in all of those areas. But when you get to 6 and above, they are content specific.
Cause the math gets tricky to
Yeah. And we did do this last, we just need to make sure we had a policy on file, you know, whatever the case is, because, you know, we had a number of discussions, and I was given direction to go it on and put it in place.
Okay, Ms. Ware, did you have something?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Well, I like that.
The question was answered.
Okay.
I'll offer a motion that we would approve the salary incentive program for those particular grade levels.
Second.
Okay, been moved and second, roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch? Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye, passes 5-0. Okay, now we go to, reports and update, administrative reports and update, 9.1, Mr. Byrd. Mr. Byrd?
Yes, sir, I'm right here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, superintendent, deputy superintendent. Before I keep going, let me make sure y'all can hear me okay.
We got you.
I'm good, okay, awesome. Included in your board packets are the April financial reports. The only thing you would notice different this time is there's a 9.18, which is the claims docket section. We're gonna proceed through it, but the reason for that is I've been working with Ms. Davis, and she helped me to move. We're trying to just follow a state recommended best practice. We are doing everything right, this is just a best practice, and so she helped me to move the claim docket items from consent, the consent section to the action items, so it can be separately stated for the board to review, consider, and approve. And it's the same things that have been emailed, that we will continue emailing, that will not change. So we'll go through the first part first, which is the financial report, which is including 5 items there. And that's the exact same thing we've always gotten. We got the capital project sums there, the bank reconciliations, the budget status report, the fund balance report, revenues, expenditures, they did not change. I just wanted to make sure I talk about the second one. We're gonna get to it in a minute. But the first one, I still want to pause as in the past and see if there were any questions about the financial reports presented.
Any questions? Okay, if not any questions, thank you, Mr. Byrd.
And okay, then the last part will be the 9.18 for the claims docket. And it's just basically listing the claims docket as a separate item. And it is recommended by the board, it's recommended the board of trustees will approve the related claims from April the 6th and April the 20th.
So
we need to take action.
That should have been in the
So
action thing.
It has to be an action item.
So we should have moved it up in there.
But we can still take action on it.
Yeah, we take action on it. Because we used to have to sign and take action on
I'll offer a motion, we would approve that particular item.
Second.
it. Okay, it's been moved and second, roll call.
Dr. Robinson? Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch? Mrs. Ware?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye. So we'll move it up in the 8th. You gonna move it up there?
Are you gonna move all this report today? Or just that one?
Just that. Because all that does is account saying that we have seen the claim docket, which take the pressure off.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah, and put it on us. There is something wrong, they come put us in jail, and he don't go. But I can assure you, if I go, we going. Whole office going. Everybody got to go. Yeah,
In this best practice layout, Davis went to a meeting, I think it was sometime this month. She come back with a whole legal pad stuff.
Sure did.
So this was
Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Yeah, that was, because we used that to sign, you remember we used to sign, let them know that, Mr. West, you remember you was up there telling them, look, that's not right. You said, that ain't right, how we gonna know what they spending and we at home?
That's right.
And they say, well, you were responsible anyway.
That's exactly what they do.
That's right. Okay, 9.2, Mr. Tennessee.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Before you have the Monday technology report, do y'all have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Mr. Tennessee. All right, federal program.
Ms. Thomas, please tell me about the good news, okay?
Good afternoon, Mr. James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald Green. Before you have the ESSER monthly report for the month of April, ESSER 1, 2, as well as ARP ESSER. ARP ESSER was finally approved on yesterday. We've been working on that grant since October and finally got our final approval on yesterday.
That's the ESSER 3?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Fine.
We need to,
8
we'll
months,
discuss
2 weeks,
that.
and 13 days.
Well, discuss.
That's how long it took.
In a lot of changes, right, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
So now we gotta do it, whenever we wanna make an adjustment, change in what they've approved.
We got to send it
It
in.
won't take another 8 months, I'm not gonna.
Should,
I wouldn't say.
well, at least we got it approved. Now.
Yeah.
Now we can switch it now.
Yeah, thank the Lord for that.
Okay, all we gotta do is not get in there and say, okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Thomas, 9.4, Ms. Davis, you right here.
Yes, sir. Evening again. Before you have the school quarterly safety report and graphs, any questions?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Board calendar, that's our calendar, anything you see need to be updated on it, let Ms. Davis know. Need to be added or taken away. Okay, 9.6, superintendent update.
Okay, I've already sent you a lot of information already out for the superintendent update. One or two things we need to add at this point. I was late coming to the meeting today because we had a meeting with the representative from the Natchez-Adams, along with representatives from the city planning committee, the architect, the engineers, Volker, the mayor. The mayor was very generous in putting that meeting together for us at the spur of the moment because we've had a stall out at the project as it relates to the drainage for where the water was gonna go, where the water would go when they, drain the parking lot when we had bad rain. So they had to come back and make an adjustment. But now they've gone back to the original plan because seemingly there was a main or something that you couldn't do a whole lot of moving around to because there was some erosion there. So they've gone back to the original plan now, and I can't talk all the engineering talk that they talk, but seemingly we got the problem solved today.
Good.
Okay. Also, hopefully they will finish the roof, if not this week, next week, put the windows in, with the exception of some windows up around the gym area there. They should be able to drive the building in and start putting up rocks sometime probably the middle of June or something like that. There's one or two things I need to discuss with you, Nick, the executive session as it relates to staffing.
Well, let me just ask you a question. I know I'm making a question, but when you said, in the meeting with the mayor and all of these other various persons, when you said the architect, which architect was that part of that?
There was 3MA.
3MA.
Yeah, the contractor.
I just wanted to see whether it was
M3A.
Was it 3A? M3A or somebody else,
right?
The Brady Group or whatever. That's what I was trying.
Right. It was the vocal folk. It was just for the present project. At
Right.
Natchez High School campus.
I understand.
Right now,
I just wanted to get.
But I was very glad because of the fact because we met with a gentleman named Mr. Moon and he brought all the players to the table.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
And as a result, I think we got the
Waterworks Director.
Right. And I think we got the we had a resolve for the project. So sometime either this week or next week they should resume working on that because they're getting ready to do the parking lot sometime in the distant future.
Okay.
If you have any specific questions about the project, I meet with Keith every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. Okay. On the remodeling job, we're coming along pretty good on the remodeling job at this point. They working on the roof for the gym. It's just about finished, and we have about 1 or 2 more roofs that they need to work on. They've tore out all of the old gallons areas, so we're coming along pretty good. The weather has been very favorable for us, and seemingly most of the supplies have been delivered on time. they're in the process now putting in the infields for the infield panels for the windows and all those kind of things. I think most of the plumbing have already been done up to this point, so we're looking pretty good on everything. Thank you.
Okay, then we have, 9.7 school board, Ms. Dr. Robinson, anything you would like to say?
Yeah. Congratulations to all NASD, graduates.
Mr. West,
No, sir, thank you.
Dr. Blunt?
I'd like to congratulate all of you all that have worked so hard with some of these students. I know that is not an easy thing to do to get, as we transition through COVID and as we're sort of feeling like we're coming toward a better situation. And I'm proud of the students that are going to boys state, girls state, and winning the DAR competition, all of those things during what's been a difficult time. So just to thank Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald Green. I know how hard it's been because I've been teaching too during this COVID year, and I know how hard everybody's had to do to make this work, and it's worked. So I say congratulations to you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Bush, but you, Ms. McDonald, I cannot take it straight, because basically, it goes back to the building principals, it goes back to each of those classrooms, the custodial staff, the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers. It just, everybody has to play a part. And not last but not least, this board, because you've been very generous in giving us some leeway during the whole process with COVID and all. We did send out the lifting of the mask mandate. Mr. Fields did send out the lifting of the mask mandates, I think last Friday or Thursday, one of those days. So then we got 2 more folks might be a little bit happier.
Good.
Okay. Ms. White, anything you?
Yes, I would like to say congratulations to, Dr. Bunch on her retirement from Alcorn State University. That's gonna be great for this board because she'll be able to work a little bit harder here to get this district up and moving to where it should be, which I think we're going in the right direction, with everything that's been laid out. And I know I'm, as far as the experience, the youngest one, in this group, and, it's just a pleasure to work with you all, and I'm learning, and, there's a lot going on in the district and a lot of great things going on in the district, so I'm just glad to be a part of this.
Okay.
And Ms. Webb, we also have your data Bible that you requested at the last meeting. You can do it if you might want to retire too.
Okay. And also, we have a flyer, NASD string and symbol, whatever, the strings of spring concert. They got a good concert out at Morgantown, May 24th at 7 p.m. So that's string, right? Violin and all of that.
Yeah. And Mr. Jackson, would you tell the board, what time you told me to have them at the baccalaureate in the graduation? And we're gonna make a special effort to call one of the board members, okay?
It is the request for baccalaureate that y'all, at the convention center at 8 o'clock Sunday, morning, and graduation that you're there, by 7.
Now,
I want y'all to know, barring some unforeseen circumstance, I'm having cataract surgery Thursday, okay? So if there are no complications and so forth and so on, then I will be there, but if there's a complication, I'll miss the baccalaureate, but I will be at the graduation, but other than that.
But I'll call you at 6 o'clock Sunday morning.
A check on my eye or the check for me to go come to baccalaureate.
But me and Dr. Robinson be in the parking lot about 6:30. We get there early. We get there early. But anyway, we have that, and also we have a note here saying that I know Dr. Robinson, she gonna be on leave, she said. June the 8th at 10, we have some bids coming in for security cameras. So they would like to see, can we do the final work session on that day instead of coming in on we had on the 7th. It was the 7th, then we had to come right back the next day.
What date is it?
The 8th at 10.
The 8th of June?
Yeah, because we have bids coming in for the security cameras, right? And we had a date for the 7th, so that means we had to come on the 7th, then turn around and come back on the 8th.
Okay,
So if the 8 is good,
Yeah, at
What-
10 o'clock.
what day is that?
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
yeah, all we do is open the bid. We only got to be here, we gotta be here for a few minutes.
Right.
Well, no, we got the budget work session.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
panel budget work session. Okay.
So you need a motion to change it, or you just gonna?
I don't think we need a motion. We have meeting, we don't need no motion, we had already,
You will?
we don't need no motion.
Oh,
Question. For commencement, do we have a parking pass or just get in where you fit in?
Get in where you fit in.
You will, park behind the gym.
You were parked behind the gym, they say.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you get in. We get you in.
how often,
What we got next?
we got a closed determination?
Right.
I'll offer a motion, we will have a closed determination.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Can we have a roll call?
Dr. Robinson? Aye. Mr. West?
Aye.
Dr. Bunch? Aye. Mrs. Ware? Mr. James?
Aye. It passed 5-0. Everybody thought it was gonna be a long day this.
It was.
When we have a long agenda, it'd be short. You have a short agenda, it'd be long. We're in closed determination.
Thank y'all very much.
Okay?